when a stranger's kiss becomes your only escape. Aria Bennett thought she'd escaped her nightmare of a marriage until the night her ex-husband cornered her in an upscale bar, ready to destroy what little dignity she had left. Desperate and drowning, she did the unthinkable. She kissed a dangerous stranger who'd been watching her all night. That one reckless moment with Luca DeLuca didn't just humiliate her ex. It pulled her into a world of power, protection, and impossible choices. Stay until the end to see how far love can bend before it breaks. Drop a like and comment your city so I can see how far this story travels. The glass was sweating in Aria's hand, ice melting faster than her resolve. She shouldn't have come here. The Aurelian wasn't her kind of place, not anymore. Maybe it never had been. Soft jazz played over conversations too quiet to be genuine, the kind of restrained laughter that came from people who'd learned to perform their happiness. She used to fit in here back when she wore designer dresses without checking price tags, and believed her husband when he said he loved her. That was 3 years ago. Different lifetime. Now she sat at the corner of the bar in a dress she'd owned for 4 years, nursing a vodka soda she couldn't really afford, wondering what the hell she was doing. "You look like you're planning an escape route," the bartender said, refilling her water glass without asking. He was young, probably 25, with kind eyes that made her feel ancient at 31. Something like that. Bad date? Worse. Obligation. Her friend Rachel had insisted. "You need to get out, Aria. You can't hide in that apartment forever with Mia. 1 drink. That's all I'm asking." But Rachel was late, 40 minutes now, and Aria's anxiety was climbing with each passing minute. She'd left Mia with Mrs. Chen next door, promising she'd be back by 10. It was already 8:30. The door opened, bringing a gust of October cold and a group of men in expensive suits. Aria didn't look up. She'd learned not to make eye contact in places like this, learned that some men took a glance as an invitation, but she felt it anyway, the shift in the room's energy, the way conversations paused half a second too long. Then she saw him, Caleb Hayes, her ex-husband. Walking in like he owned the place, which he probably did in some financial sense she'd never understood. He always had his hands in too many pockets, fingers in too many pies. That's what her father used to say, back when he was still talking to her. Caleb hadn't seen her yet. He was laughing at something one of his companions said, that same easy charm that had fooled her 6 years ago. He looked good. He always looked good. That was part of the problem. Tall, athletic build, sandy hair perfectly styled, a smile that photographs loved. The kind of man who could destroy you and make you thank him for it. Aria's throat tightened. She couldn't breathe right. The bartender noticed. "You okay?" "I need to." She stood too fast, her knee hitting the bar. The bartender steadied her drink before it could spill. But the movement caught Caleb's attention. Their eyes met across the room. His expression shifted, surprise, then something darker. Pleasure, maybe. The kind of pleasure a cat feels when it finds the mouse it's been hunting. Aria's entire body went cold. He said something to his group and started walking toward her. No, not here, not tonight. She grabbed her purse, mind racing. The bathroom was too obvious. The exit meant passing him. She could... "Excuse me." A voice at her elbow, low and smooth with an accent she couldn't quite place. Italian, maybe, or Spanish. Aria turned. The man standing beside her was nothing like Caleb. Dark hair, dark eyes, a face that looked carved rather than handsome, all sharp angles and controlled intensity. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her car, and he was looking at her like she was the only person in the room. "I apologize for the intrusion," he said, "but I couldn't help noticing you haven't touched the drink I sent over." Aria blinked. "What?" He gestured to the bar where a second vodka soda sat sweating next to her first. She hadn't even noticed it arrive. I didn't. You looked like you could use another." His eyes flicked past her just for a second, landing on Caleb, who had frozen mid-stride. Or perhaps something stronger. This was insane. She didn't know this man, didn't accept drinks from strangers, didn't... Aria. Caleb's voice cut through her panic like a knife through butter. He was 3 feet away now, close enough that she could smell his cologne. The same one he'd worn during their marriage. The same one that used to make her feel safe, and now made her want to vomit. "Caleb." Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "Small victory. I didn't expect to see you here. His smile was warm, concerned, the one he used on juries and business partners. You look good, liar. She'd seen herself in the mirror before leaving, tired eyes, too thin frame, hair that needed a proper cut she couldn't afford. She looked like exactly what she was, a woman barely keeping it together. I was just leaving, she said. Don't rush off on my account. He stepped closer, and she stepped back, her hip hitting the bar, trapped. We should talk. It's been too long. We have nothing to talk about. Mia's my daughter too, Arya. We have plenty to talk about. The stranger cleared his throat. Both Arya and Caleb looked at him, as if they'd forgotten he was there. I'm sorry, Caleb said, his tone shifting to annoyed dismissal. We're having a private conversation. The stranger smiled. It wasn't a friendly expression. Actually, he said, you're interrupting ours. Caleb's jaw tightened. Excuse me? My date and I were just discussing where to have dinner. The stranger held out his hand to Arya, an invitation. Weren't we, darling? Arya stared at his hand. This was crazy. She didn't know this man. He could be anyone, dangerous, worse than Caleb even. But Caleb's presence was pressing on her like a physical weight, and she could see the calculation in his eyes, the way he was already planning his next move. She'd been here before. Knew how this played out. He'd be understanding, sympathetic, wear her down until she agreed to coffee, to a conversation about Mia, to letting him back into their lives just a little bit, and then a little bit more, until she was drowning again. Arya took the stranger's hand. His skin was warm, his grip firm, but not tight. He pulled her gently to his side, close enough that she could feel the heat of him through her dress. There's been a misunderstanding, Caleb said, his voice hardening. Arya, who is this? The stranger answered before she could. Luca de Luca, and you are? Her husband. Ex-husband, Arya corrected, finding her voice. A technicality, Caleb said, eyes still on Luca. We're working on reconciliation, for our daughter's sake. Is that so? Luca looked down at Arya, eyebrow raised. You didn't mention you were getting back together with your ex. She should have pulled away, should have told the truth, should have... But Caleb was watching her with that look, the one that said he knew she was lying, knew she was weak, knew he'd already won. It's complicated, she managed. Uncomplicated for me, Luca said softly. His eyes were dark brown, almost black in the bar's low lighting. There was something unsettling about them, an intelligence that seemed to see too much, understand too much. But there was also a question there, an offer. Do you want this? Do you want my help? Arya made her choice. Caleb and I are divorced, she said clearly. We're not getting back together, not now, not ever. Caleb's expression went cold. Arya, don't be childish. We need to discuss... She's made herself clear, Luca interrupted. His voice hadn't changed, still smooth, still polite, but something in it made Caleb take a step back. Perhaps you should respect that. This doesn't concern you. She's holding my hand. I'd say it concerns me. The tension was drawing attention. People were trying not to stare, which meant they were definitely staring. Arya felt her face heating up. Look, Caleb said, forcing a laugh. I don't know who you are or what she's told you, but he's my boyfriend, Arya blurted out. Both men looked at her. She'd surprised herself as much as them, but now that she'd said it, she couldn't take it back. Wouldn't take it back. She could see the fury building behind Caleb's careful mask, and some reckless part of her wanted to push harder. We've been seeing each other for a few weeks, she continued, the lie spilling out easier than it should have. I didn't mention it because it's none of your business. Caleb's face was turning red. You're dating? Already? What about Mia? You're exposing our daughter to strange men. Careful, Luca said quietly. Something in that single word made Caleb stop. Actually stop mid-sentence like he'd walked into an invisible wall. Arya felt Luca's hand tighten slightly on hers. Not painful, but protective. Arya has every right to move on with her life, Luca continued. Your marriage is over. Accept it. You don't know anything about our marriage. I know enough. They stared at each other, and Arya realized with a jolt that Caleb was the one who looked away first. Caleb, who never backed down, who'd crushed her in divorce court, who'd made her feel small for years. He dropped his gaze. This isn't over, he said to Arya, ignoring Luca entirely now. We will talk about this. About what's best for Mia. Don't, Arya said. Don't use her like that. I'm her father. Then act like it. Disappear for 6 months and suddenly you care about her welfare? I've been busy. You've been busy. Right. The anger was rising now, hot and sharp in her chest. You were too busy to pay child support, too busy to call, too busy to show up for her 4th birthday, but now you're concerned about her welfare. Lower your voice, Caleb hissed, glancing around at their audience. Why? Embarrassed? You should be. His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough to stop her from pulling away. Watch yourself, Arya. You're making a scene. Luca moved. 1 second he was standing beside her, the next he was between them, Caleb's wrist caught in his grip. Arya hadn't even seen him move. Let go, Luca said, very quietly. Get your hands off me, Caleb snarled. Let go of her first. For a moment, neither man moved. Then Caleb released Arya's wrist, and Luca released him in turn. Caleb rubbed his wrist, eyes blazing. You just made a serious mistake. Did I? You have no idea who you're dealing with, Luca smiled. I could say the same to you. The bartender appeared, nervous. Gentlemen, please. We don't want any trouble. There won't be any, Luca said, not looking away from Caleb. Mr. Hayes was just leaving. Like hell I am. Caleb. A voice from across the room, one of his companions, a silver-haired man in an expensive suit. Let it go. Not worth it. Caleb's jaw worked. He looked at Arya, then at Luca, then back to Arya. This isn't finished, he said. Yes, it is, Arya replied. He left, finally, walking back to his group with forced calm, saying something that made them laugh too loud, compensating. Arya's legs felt weak. She gripped the bar for support. You okay? Luca asked. She nodded, not trusting her voice. Breathe. She did, pulling in air that tasted like gin and expensive perfume. I'm sorry, she managed. I shouldn't have. You didn't sign up for... Don't apologize. I dragged you into my mess. I volunteered, remember? He signaled the bartender. Get her some water and close out both our tabs. I can pay for my own... Arya. He said her name like he'd known her for years, not minutes. Let me. She was too tired to argue. The water came. She drank it too fast, nearly choking. Luca's hand found her back, steadying her. Thank you, she said when she could speak again. For all of that. He hurt you. It wasn't a question. A long time ago, Arya said. Doesn't look that long ago to me. She couldn't look at him, couldn't let him see whatever was on her face. I should go, she said. My daughter's with the neighbor, and I promised I'd be back by 10. It's 9:15. Right. Well, thank you again. For the drink I didn't ask for and the boyfriend performance I definitely didn't ask for. He laughed, actually laughed, and it transformed his face, made him look younger, less dangerous. You're welcome. For both. She grabbed her purse, started to leave, then stopped, turned back. Why did you send me that drink? Luca tilted his head, considering. You looked like you needed a friend. You don't know me. No, he agreed, but I know men like him, and I know what fear looks like. Arya's throat tightened. I wasn't afraid. Liar. The word was gentle, almost affectionate. She should have been offended. Instead, she felt something uncomfortably close to tears. I have to go, she said. Wait. He pulled out his phone, typed something, then held it out to her. In case he bothers you again. His contact information was on the screen, just a name and number. I can't. You can. You might not use it, but you can have it. Against her better judgment, Arya pulled out her own phone and added the contact. Her hands were shaking slightly. Thank you, she said again. Be safe, Arya Bennett. She blinked. I never told you my last name. He did. Your ex. Right, of course. But something in his expression made her think that wasn't quite true. The October air hit her like a slap when she stepped outside. She pulled her jacket tighter and started walking toward the subway, heels clicking on wet pavement. She'd made it half a block when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Get home safe. Text me when you're there. She stopped walking. How did he get her number? She hadn't given it to him. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I have my ways. Indulge me. This was insane. She should block the number. Should forget the whole night ever happened. Instead, she saved his contact and kept walking. The subway ride was a blur. Arya stared at her reflection in the dark window, seeing Caleb's face instead of her own. Hearing his voice, "We need to talk about what's best for Mia." He'd never cared about what was best for Mia. Not when he was sleeping with his secretary, not when he drained their joint accounts, not when he left Arya with nothing but a toddler and a mountain of legal bills. But he cared now, apparently. Now that she'd moved on, or appeared to move on. Except she hadn't. Not really. Tonight was the first time she'd been out in months, and she'd spent it running from her past and lying to a stranger. Some progress. Mrs. Chen's apartment smelled like jasmine tea and old books. The elderly woman opened the door in her bathrobe, reading glasses perched on her nose. "You're early," she said in Mandarin accented English. "Everything okay?" "Yes, fine. Thank you so much for watching her." "Mia's an angel. She's sleeping on my couch." Arya found her daughter curled up under a knitted blanket, thumb in her mouth. 4 years old and still small for her age, all dark curls and long lashes. Caleb's eyes, unfortunately, but Arya's stubborn chin. "Come on, baby," Arya whispered, scooping her up. Mia mumbled something incomprehensible and buried her face in Arya's neck. "Man problems?" Mrs. Chen asked knowingly. "Is it that obvious?" "You have that look. My husband used to give me that look, before he became ex-husband." Arya managed a weak smile. "Good night, Mrs. Chen." Their apartment was 3 doors down. Small, barely affordable, but it was theirs. No one could take it from them. She tucked Mia into bed, brushing curls from her forehead. Mia stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Mama?" "I'm here, baby. Go back to sleep." "Did you have fun?" "Sure." "You smell like outside." Arya laughed despite everything. "That's because I was outside." "Oh." Mia's eyes were already closing again. "Love you, Mama." "Love you too." In the bathroom, Arya stared at her reflection for real this time. Tired eyes, makeup smudged, hair a mess. She looked like she'd been through a war. Maybe she had. Her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten about Luca's text. She typed quickly, "Home safe. Thanks again." The response came immediately. "Good. Sleep well." She should have left it there. Should have thanked him one last time and moved on. Instead, she wrote, "Why did you really help me tonight?" The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Luca, "I don't like bullies." Arya, "You don't even know me." Luca, "I know enough." Arya, "Like what?" Luca, "You're stronger than you think. You're scared, but you stand your ground anyway, and you love your daughter more than anything in the world." Her throat tightened. She blinked hard. Arya, "You got all that from watching me for 5 minutes?" Luca, "I'm observant." Arya, "Or stalkerish." Luca, "Maybe both. Does it bother you?" She thought about it. About how he'd stepped in without being asked. How he'd read the situation perfectly. How his presence had somehow made Caleb back down when nothing else had. Arya, "It should." Luca, "But it doesn't?" Arya, "I don't know. Ask me tomorrow." Luca, "I'll hold you to that. Good night, Arya." She set the phone down and climbed into bed, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept replaying the night, Caleb's face, Luca's hand in hers, the moment when everything shifted. She'd lied to her ex-husband, accepted help from a stranger, given that stranger her number, or let him take it anyway. None of it made sense. But for the first time in 3 years, Arya didn't feel quite so alone. The next morning arrived too soon and too bright. Mia was already awake, singing to her stuffed rabbit in a language only 4-year-olds understood. "Mama, I'm hungry. Give me 5 minutes." "You said that 5 minutes ago." Arya groaned into her pillow. "Fine, I'm up." Breakfast was cereal and slightly bruised bananas. Mia chattered about Mrs. Chen's cats while Arya tried to wake up enough to function. Her phone sat on the counter, screen dark. She'd checked it twice already this morning. No new messages. Not that she was expecting any. Mama, you're not listening. Sorry, baby. What did you say? I said, can we go to the park today? It's Wednesday. You have preschool. After preschool. We'll see. That means no. That means maybe. Mia scrunched up her face, a perfect mirror of Arya's own skeptical expression. Okay. Preschool drop-off was the usual chaos of small children and harried parents. Arya waved goodbye to Mia, who was already running toward her best friend Emma, then headed to the coffee shop where she worked 4 mornings a week. The grind wasn't fancy. Linoleum floors, chipped counters, a espresso machine that coughed like it was dying. But the pay was cash. The manager didn't ask questions, and she could usually sneak some expired pastries home for dinner. You look like hell, her coworker Jessie said by way of greeting. Good morning to you too. Rough night? Something like that. She tied on her apron and fell into the familiar rhythm. Lattes, cappuccinos, black coffee for the construction workers who came in at 7. Small talk she didn't mean, smiles that hurt her face. By noon, her feet ached and she smelled like burnt coffee beans. Her phone buzzed. Luca. Have you decided yet? She stared at the message, heart doing something complicated in her chest. Arya. Decided what? Luca. Whether I'm stalkerish in a good way or a bad way. Despite everything, she smiled. Arya. Jury's still out. Luca. Fair. Can I take you to dinner? Help you decide. Arya's smile faded. This was real. He was actually asking her out. Arya. I can't. I have Mia. Luca. Bring her. Arya. You don't want a 4-year-old at dinner. Luca. Why not? Arya. Because 4-year-olds are loud and messy and ask inappropriate questions. Luca. So do I. We'll get along fine. She laughed out loud. Jessie looked over, eyebrows raised. Arya. This is a bad idea. Luca. Probably. Is that a yes? She shouldn't. She knew she shouldn't. She didn't know this man, didn't know anything about him except that he could make Caleb back down, and he had very nice hands, and he made her feel less alone. All terrible reasons to say yes. Arya. Friday. 6 o'clock. Nothing too fancy. Luca. I'll pick you up. Arya. You don't know where I live. Luca. Yes, I do. Her stomach dropped. Arya. That's not creepy at all. Luca. I looked you up. Public records. Your address is on your divorce filing. Arya. Still creepy. Luca. But practical. See you Friday, Arya. She set the phone down with shaking hands. Who's got you smiling like that? Jessie asked. No one. Liar. Come on, spill. Just a guy. A guy? You? Jessie clutched his chest dramatically. Alert the media. Arya Bennett is dating. I'm not dating. It's just dinner. With a guy. With my daughter present. Still counts. Jessie leaned on the counter grinning. What's he like? I have no idea. Even better, mystery man. I like it. Arya didn't mention the part about the staged boyfriend performance, or the way Luca had grabbed Caleb's wrist, or the fact that he'd somehow gotten her number without asking. She especially didn't mention the way her heart had jumped when his name appeared on her phone. The rest of her shift passed in a haze. She picked up Mia from preschool, listening to a detailed explanation of how Emma had thrown up during snack time. They went to the park because Arya couldn't say no when Mia looked at her like that. They ate mac and cheese for dinner because it was cheap and easy and Mia's favorite. Normal. Everything was normal. Except Arya kept checking her phone. Luca didn't text again that day, or the next. By Thursday, she'd convinced herself he'd changed his mind. By Thursday night, she was almost relieved. She didn't need complications, didn't need mystery men who knew too much and made her feel things she'd forgotten how to feel. She was fine on her own. Then Friday morning came, and with it, a message. Luca. Still on for tonight? Her heart did that stupid jumping thing again. Arya. Yes. Luca. Good. Wear something comfortable. I have a surprise. Arya. I don't like surprises. Luca. You'll like this one. She spent the entire day second-guessing herself, tried on 3 different outfits before settling on jeans and a sweater that didn't make her look quite so exhausted, put on makeup, took it off, put it on again. Mama, why are you pretty? Mia asked, watching from the bathroom doorway. I'm always pretty. Yes? but extra pretty. We're going to dinner with a friend. What friend? Good question. Someone Mama met recently. Is it a boy? It's a man, yes. Is he your boyfriend? Arya's hand slipped, mascara smudging. No. Then why are you pretty for him? Mia, baby, go watch cartoons. But now, please. At exactly 6 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Arya took a breath, checked her reflection one last time, and opened it. Luca stood in the hallway wearing dark jeans and a leather jacket, looking unfairly good for someone who probably hadn't spent an hour agonizing over their outfit. Hi, she said stupidly. Hi yourself. His eyes traveled over her, not leering, just looking. You look beautiful. I look tired. You look beautiful, he repeated firmly. Mia appeared at Arya's hip, staring up at Luca with open curiosity. You're tall, she announced. You're observant, Luca replied, crouching down to her level. You must be Mia. How did you know? Your mama told me about you. What did she say? That you're smart and funny and you ask a lot of questions. Mia beamed. That's true. Are you Mama's boyfriend? Mia! Arya's face burned, but Luca just smiled. Would that bother you? Mia considered this seriously. Do you have a dog? No. Then yes, it would bother me. Boyfriends should have dogs. That's a reasonable requirement. I'll work on that. Okay. Mia grabbed her jacket. Can we go now? I'm hungry. Luca stood, shooting Arya an amused look. She's exactly like you described. I'm so sorry. Don't be. I like her already. They took a car service, black SUV with leather seats that Mia immediately smudged with her hands. The driver didn't seem to care. Where are we going? Arya asked. You'll see. I thought we agreed nothing fancy. We did. This isn't fancy. 15 minutes later, they pulled up to a small Italian restaurant tucked between a laundromat and a bodega. The sign was hand-painted, the windows steamed up from whatever was cooking inside. Mama Giordano's, Luca said. Best Italian food in the city. Family run, no reservations, no pretense, just good food. Mia wrinkled her nose. I don't like Italian food. Have you ever had Italian food? No. Then how do you know you don't like it? Mia thought about this. I just know. Tell you what, Luca said, opening her door. If you hate everything, we'll go get pizza instead. Pizza is Italian food, Arya pointed out. Different category, Luca said seriously. Pizza is pizza. Italian food is Italian food. Mia nodded like this made perfect sense. Inside, the restaurant was cramped and loud and smelled incredible. An older woman spotted Luca and let out a stream of Italian that needed no translation, pure delight mixed with scolding. Luca, troppo magro. You don't eat enough. I eat, Mama G, I promise. Lies. You work too much. She grabbed his face between her hands, kissing both cheeks. Then she noticed Arya and Mia. Her expression shifted to pure speculation. And who is this? Arya Bennett and her daughter, Mia. Arya, this is Mama Giordano. She's been feeding me since I moved to the city. 10 years ago, Mama Giordano said, switching to English with barely an accent. And he never brings anyone. Never. Now he brings a beautiful woman and her daughter. She winked at Arya. You must be special. We're just friends, Arya said automatically. Mm-hmm. Mama Giordano clearly didn't believe her. Come. I have the perfect table. The perfect table was in the back corner, half hidden by a hanging plant. Mama Giordano brought bread without asking, then disappeared into the kitchen. She seems enthusiastic, Arya said. She's the best. This place was one of the first I found when I moved here. I was lost, didn't speak much English yet, and she fed me for free until I found work. What kind of work? Luca's expression shuddered slightly. Security? Consulting? Various things? That's vague. I'm a vague person. Mia was exploring the breadbasket, pulling out pieces and examining them suspiciously. Is this bread safe? She asked. Safest bread in the city, Luca assured her. She took a tiny bite, chewed thoughtfully, then took a bigger bite. It's okay. High praise, Arya murmured. Dinner was chaos in the best way. Mama Giordano brought food they hadn't ordered, pasta, meatballs, chicken parmesan. Things Arya couldn't identify but tasted incredible. Mia, who'd insisted she didn't like Italian food, ate 3 meatballs and half a bowl of pasta. Luca was good with her, patient with her questions, attentive when she told rambling stories about preschool, serious when she asked if he could make the breadsticks appear with magic. "Not magic," he said, "but I know the woman who made them, and she might make more if we ask nicely." "Can we ask nicely?" "Absolutely." Watching them together did something strange to Arya's chest, made it tight and warm and uncomfortable. "You're staring," Luca said quietly, while Mia was distracted by coloring on her paper placemat. "Sorry." "Don't apologize, I like it." "You're good with her." "She's easy to be good with." He paused. "You did well, Arya, raising her alone." "You don't know that. You've known us for an hour." "I know she's happy, confident, loved, that's everything." Arya's throat tightened. Caleb would disagree. Caleb's an idiot. He's her father. Biology doesn't make you a parent. Showing up does. She wanted to ask where that wisdom came from, what his story was, why a man who looked like him and talked like him was single and having dinner with a broke single mom and her 4-year-old. But Mia chose that moment to spill her water, and the moment passed. By the time they left, Mia was drooping against Arya's side, full and tired. Luca carried her to the car without asking, Mia's head on his shoulder. "She's heavier than she looks," he said. "Tell me about it." Back at the apartment, Arya took Mia to get ready for bed while Luca waited in the living room. When she came back, he was looking at the photos on her bookshelf. Cheap frames from Target, pictures of Mia at various ages. "No pictures of you," he observed. "I'm always behind the camera." "That should change." He turned to face her, and suddenly the apartment felt very small. "Thank you for tonight," Arya said. "Mia had a good time." "What about you?" Yes, I did too." "Good." He moved toward the door, then stopped. "Arya, I need to tell you something." Her stomach dropped. Here it came. The revelation that he was married or crazy or... Caleb came by my office yesterday. Whatever she'd expected, it wasn't that. "What?" "He looked me up, found out where I work, came by to... I don't know. Threaten me, maybe, warn me off." "Oh God, Luca, I'm so sorry." "Don't." He held up a hand. "I'm not telling you to apologize. I'm telling you because you need to know he's escalating." "What did he say?" "That you're unstable, that I should be careful, that he's concerned about Mia's safety." Luca's jaw tightened. "He suggested that if I care about you, I should step back. Let him handle his family." "His family," Arya repeated bitterly. "We're not his family anymore." "I told him that, among other things." "What other things?" "Nothing that matters." He pulled out his phone, typed something, then showed her the screen. "This is the number for my lawyer. If Caleb contacts you, if he shows up here, if he does anything that makes you uncomfortable, call her immediately." "I can't afford a lawyer." "You're not paying. I am." "Luca, no. I can't let you..." "Arya." He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something clean and expensive. "Let me help." "Why?" "Because I want to. Because you need it. Because..." He stopped, seeming to reconsider his words. "Because I don't like watching people get hurt by bullies." "You don't know me well enough to care this much." "Maybe not, but I'm a fast learner." They stared at each other. Arya's heart was doing that thing again, that stupid jumping thing that meant trouble. "I should go," Luca said quietly. "Yeah." But neither of them moved. Then Mia called from her bedroom, "Mama, I need water." The spell broke. "Good night, Luca," Arya said. "Good night." He left. Arya stood in the doorway long after she heard the elevator ding, staring at nothing. Her phone buzzed. "Luca." "I meant what I said. If you need anything, call me." Arya. "Why are you doing this?" Luca. "Ask me again when you're ready for the real answer." She didn't know what to say to that, so she said nothing. That night, she dreamed of dark eyes and gentle hands, and a man who stood between her and danger like it was the most natural thing in the world. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Arya was running late, always running late these days. trying to get Mia dressed while simultaneously packing her lunch and searching for the permission slip that was due today. Definitely today. And where the hell had she put it? Mama, my sock has a hole. Wear different socks. I don't like different socks. I like these socks. Mia, please. The knock on the door cut through her rising panic. She wasn't expecting anyone. Mrs. Chen always called first, and the landlord only showed up when the rent was late, which it wasn't. Not yet, anyway. Through the peephole, she saw a man in a suit. Not Caleb. Someone official-looking holding a manila envelope. Her stomach dropped. She opened the door with the chain still on. Yes? Arya Bennett? Who's asking? Process server. I have documents for you. He held up the envelope like it was evidence, like she was already guilty of something. I'm not signing anything. You don't have to. I just have to confirm you received them. He slid the envelope through the gap in the door. It landed on her floor with a sound that felt too loud. You've been served. Have a nice day. He was gone before she could respond. Mia appeared at her elbow. What's that? Nothing, baby. Go finish getting dressed. But my sock? Just wear the socks with the hole, Mia. Please. Once Mia was back in her room, Arya picked up the envelope with shaking hands. Her name was typed on the front in official block letters. Inside, legal documents, a lot of them. She skimmed the first page and felt the floor tilt. Petition for emergency custody modification. Petitioner, Caleb Michael Hayes. Respondent, Arya Jane Bennett. The words blurred together. Unfit mother, unstable living conditions, exposure to dangerous individuals, immediate temporary custody recommended pending full hearing. He was trying to take Mia. The paper crumpled in her fist before she realized she was crushing it. She forced herself to smooth it out, to read it properly, even though every word felt like a knife. Caleb claimed she was involving Mia with men of questionable character and known criminal associations. That her financial instability put their daughter at risk. That she'd been seen in bars late at night, neglecting her parental duties. All lies. Twisted versions of truth, but lies. The bar. One night, one drink, because Rachel had insisted. The man of questionable character, Luca, who'd done nothing but help her. The financial instability, well, that part was true, but it wasn't her fault. Caleb had made sure of that in the divorce. Her phone was in her hand before she made a conscious decision to call. Luca answered on the second ring. Arya? He's trying to take her. Her voice cracked. Caleb, he's filed for emergency custody and he's saying I'm unfit and slow down. Where are you? Home. I just got served. There's a hearing in 2 weeks and he wants temporary custody immediately and I can't let him. You won't. Listen to me. You're going to call my lawyer right now. Her name's Victoria Chen. I sent you her number last week. Call her, send her everything, and don't talk to anyone else about this. Not Caleb, not his lawyer, no one. Understand? Luca, I can't afford. I'm handling it. Call Victoria. I'll meet you at her office in an hour. You don't have to see. 1 hour, Arya. Don't argue. He hung up. Arya stared at her phone, heart hammering. This was happening too fast. Everything was happening too fast. Mama? Mia stood in the doorway, fully dressed now, hair sticking up at odd angles. Are you crying? No, baby. She wiped her eyes quickly. Just tired. You look sad. I'm fine. Come here, let me fix your hair. She braided Mia's hair with trembling fingers, trying to keep her breathing steady. Mia chattered about show and tell, oblivious to the fact that her world might be about to fall apart. Preschool drop-off was agony. Arya held Mia too tight, kissed her too many times. Mama, you're squishing me. Sorry, I love you. You know that, right? I know, love you too. Can I go now? Arya watched her daughter run inside, pigtails bouncing, and felt something crack open in her chest. Victoria Chen's office was in a building Arya could never afford to enter under normal circumstances. Marble floors, abstract art on the walls, a receptionist who looked like she belonged on a magazine cover. Ms. Bennett? The receptionist smiled professionally. Ms. Chen is expecting you. 5th floor, suite 510. Arya took the elevator up, trying not to feel out of place in her Target jeans and secondhand blazer. Victoria Chen was not what she expected. Mid-30s, sharp suit, hair pulled back severely, and an expression that could cut glass. She stood when Arya entered, extending her hand. Miss Bennett, I've reviewed the petition your ex-husband filed. No small talk, straight to business. Arya appreciated that. It's aggressive, but it's also sloppy. He's overreaching. Can he really take her, even temporarily? He can try. Whether he'll succeed is another matter. Victoria gestured to a chair. Sit. Tell me everything. Arya did. The whole story spilled out, the marriage, the affairs, the divorce that had left her with nothing. The months of silence from Caleb, then his sudden appearance at the bar, meeting Luca, the dinner at Mama Giordano's. Victoria took notes, her expression never changing. When Arya finished, she was quiet for a moment. Your ex-husband is using Luca against you, she said finally, the dangerous individual he references in his petition. Do you know what he's talking about? Luca's not dangerous. That's not what I asked. Arya hesitated. I don't know much about him. He does security consulting. He's been helpful. How helpful? He offered to pay for a lawyer. She stopped. You already knew that. Luca and I have worked together before. I know exactly who he is and what he does. Victoria leaned forward. The question is, do you? I know enough. Do you know he runs one of the largest private security firms on the East Coast? That his clients include people who don't want their names in the news? That he has connections that make people nervous? Arya's throat went dry. No. Then let me be clear. Luca DeLuca is not a criminal, but he operates in spaces where the line gets blurry. Your ex-husband is going to use that. He's going to paint Luca as dangerous and you as reckless for exposing your daughter to him. But I barely know him. We've had dinner once. Doesn't matter. Perception is what counts in family court. Victoria's expression softened slightly. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because you need to understand what you're up against. Caleb Hayes is a corporate lawyer with resources and connections. He's going to come at you hard. So what do? You let me do my job, and you distance yourself from Luca until this is over. The office door opened before Arya could respond. Luca walked in like he owned the place, which, given the way Victoria didn't react, he might have. You're late, Victoria said. Traffic. He looked at Arya, and something in his expression made her chest tight. You okay? Not really. He pulled up a chair next to her, close enough that their knees almost touched. Victoria fill you in? She was just explaining how knowing you might cost me my daughter. That's not what I said, Victoria interjected. I said Caleb will try to use it against you. There's a difference. Subtle one, Arya muttered. Luca's hand found hers, warm and solid. She should have pulled away, should have listened to Victoria's advice about distance. She didn't. We can fight this, Victoria said. Caleb's petition is built on speculation and character assassination. He has no evidence of actual harm to Mia, no proof you're unfit, just innuendo and fear-mongering. But the hearing's in 2 weeks, Arya said. How do we? We build our own case, document everything, your relationship with Mia, your living situation, your employment. We show the court that you're a stable, loving parent and that Caleb's concerns are unfounded. What about Luca? Victoria looked at him, then back at Arya. What about him? Do I have to stop seeing him? That depends. Are you seeing him? The question hung in the air. Arya realized she didn't know how to answer. Were they seeing each other? They'd had one dinner, some text messages. He'd offered to protect her, to help her, but that didn't mean, yes, Luca said quietly. We are. Arya's head snapped toward him. We are? Unless you're about to tell me otherwise. She should have said this was too complicated, too fast, too much. Should have listened to the voice in her head screaming that she couldn't afford this kind of risk. No, she heard herself say. I'm not telling you otherwise. Victoria sighed. Then we work with it. Luca, you're going to need to be transparent. Background check, financial disclosure, character references. Everything above board. Not a problem. And Arya, you document every interaction, times, dates, what you did. Nothing that looks secretive or improper. If you're building a relationship, you do it properly. Introduce him to Mia gradually, appropriately. Make it look stable. It is stable, Luca said. It's been 2 weeks, Victoria countered. Time isn't the same as substance. They stared at each other. Some unspoken conversation happening that Arya couldn't follow. Fine, Victoria said finally. But I'm putting both of you on notice. Caleb's lawyer will dig into everything. Every message, every photo, every moment you spend together. Don't give them ammunition. She walked them through the next steps. Interrogatories, depositions, witness lists. Arya tried to focus, but the words kept sliding away from her. When they finally left the office, Arya felt hollowed out. "Come on," Luca said, hand on her back, guiding her toward the elevator. "Where?" "Somewhere quiet." He took her to a small park 3 blocks away. They sat on a bench while Arya tried to process everything. "I should end this," she said finally. "Whatever this is, it's too risky." "Is that what you want?" "It doesn't matter what I want. I have to think about Mia." "You are thinking about Mia. That's all you ever do." He turned to face her. "Arya, Caleb was going to come after you regardless. This isn't about me. It's about control." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do. Men like him don't change. They just find new ways to maintain power." She wanted to argue, but she couldn't, because he was right. "Tell me about your work," she said instead. "The truth." Luca was quiet for a long moment. "I run a private security firm. We handle personal protection, risk assessment, corporate security. Some of our clients value discretion. Some of them have made enemies. We help them stay safe." "That's vague." "It's accurate. Victoria said you operate in spaces where the line gets blurry." Victoria's dramatic, but yes, sometimes the work isn't clean. Sometimes the people we protect aren't saints. But we don't break laws, and we don't hurt people who don't deserve it. "Who decides who deserves it?" "Me." No hesitation. "I decide." It should have scared her. Maybe it did, a little. But mostly she felt something else. A strange kind of relief that he wasn't pretending to be something he wasn't. "Why me?" she asked. "You could have anyone. Why get involved in this mess?" "You want the real answer?" "You said to ask when I was ready. I'm asking." He looked at her, really looked at her, and Arya felt stripped bare. "Because when I saw you in that bar," he said slowly, "I saw someone fighting, not running, not hiding, fighting. And I thought, here's someone who deserves better than what she's getting, someone worth protecting. That's not a reason to upend your life. It is for me." Her phone buzzed. Mrs. Chen asking if she should pick up Mia from preschool since Arya was running late. Reality crashed back. "I have to go," Arya said, standing abruptly. "I'll drive you." "No, I need to think." She left him sitting on the bench, walked 3 blocks to the subway, and cried the whole way home. The next 2 weeks were a blur of paperwork and panic. Victoria's team descended on Arya's life like forensic accountants, documenting everything. Her work schedule, her finances, her parenting routines. They interviewed Mrs. Chen, Mia's preschool teacher, even Jessie from the coffee shop. Arya felt like she was under a microscope, every flaw magnified. Luca kept his distance but stayed present. Text messages checking in. Flowers delivered to the coffee shop with a note that just said, "Thinking of you." A care package with Mia's favorite snacks, and a stuffed dog that Mia immediately named Sir Bark Salat. "Is this from your boyfriend?" Mia asked, hugging the dog. "He's not..." Arya stopped. "Yes, from Luca. He remembers I wanted a boyfriend with a dog. This isn't a real dog, baby." "It's close enough." 3 days before the hearing, Rachel finally called. They hadn't spoken since that night at the bar, and Arya had been too overwhelmed to reach out. "I heard," Rachel said without preamble, "Caleb's suing for custody. Arya, what the hell?" "I didn't ask for this." "I know, Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Testify that I'm not a terrible mother?" "You're the best mother I know. Of course I'll testify." Rachel paused. "Is it true about the guy from the bar? His name is Luca." "So it is true. Arya, you've been dating for what, 2 weeks? And already..." "Don't. Please don't." "I'm not judging. I'm worried. This guy, whoever he is, he's giving Caleb ammunition." "Caleb was always going to find ammunition. At least this way I'm not alone." Rachel was quiet. "You really like him?" "I don't know, maybe. It doesn't matter right now." "It matters. When this is over, it'll matter a lot." The night before the hearing, Arya couldn't sleep. She checked on Mia a dozen times, watching her daughter sleep, memorizing every detail in case. No, she couldn't think like that. Her phone lit up. Luca, calling at 2 in the morning. Can't sleep either? He asked when she answered. How did you know I was awake? I know you. You don't, though. Not really. I know you're terrified. I know you're strong enough to hide it from everyone except yourself. I know you'd do anything for your daughter. Arya closed her eyes. What if it's not enough? It will be. You can't promise that. No. But I can promise I'll be there. Whatever happens, you're not alone. She wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that this wasn't all going to fall apart. Luca? Yeah? Thank you for everything. Don't thank me yet. Wait until we win. The courthouse was exactly as Arya remembered. Cold, impersonal, designed to make you feel small. She'd been here for the divorce, sat in these same hallways while lawyers argued over the remains of her marriage. Now they were arguing over her daughter. Victoria met her at the entrance, looking sharp in a gray suit. Remember what we discussed. Stay calm. Answer truthfully. Don't let Caleb's lawyer bait you. Easy for you to say. I never said it was easy. I said it was necessary. They walked into the courtroom together. Caleb was already there with his lawyer, a silver-haired man named Martin Cross, who looked like he ate broken families for breakfast. Caleb didn't look at her, just stared straight ahead like she wasn't even there. Luca slid into the seat behind her just as the judge entered. She felt his presence like a physical thing, steadying her. The hearing started with Cross painting Arya as unstable, negligent, a mother more concerned with her love life than her daughter's welfare. He brought up the bar, the late night, her involvement with Luca. Then Victoria stood up. She systematically dismantled every accusation, showed employment records proving Arya's stability, testimony from Mrs. Chen about her dedication as a mother, preschool reports showing Mia was thriving, happy, healthy, well-adjusted. When Cross tried to bring up Luca's criminal associations, Victoria produced background checks, character references from law enforcement officials, business records showing a legitimate, successful company. Mr. DeLuca runs a security firm that works with legitimate clients, Victoria said calmly. He's never been arrested, never been charged with a crime. The only thing he's guilty of is caring about Miss Bennett and her daughter. Cross pushed back hard. Your Honor, Mr. DeLuca's business involves dangerous individuals. So does yours, Counselor, Victoria interrupted. You've represented criminals. Does that make you a criminal? The judge looked tired. Ms. Chen, Mr. Cross, I've heard enough. Unless either of you has actual evidence of harm to the child, I'm not interested in character speculation. Then it was Arya's turn to testify. She walked to the stand on legs that felt like water, swore to tell the truth, looked out at Caleb, who was finally looking at her with an expression she couldn't read. Cross asked his questions. How often did she work? Who watched Mia? When had she introduced Luca to her daughter? Did she think it was appropriate to involve a 4-year-old in her romantic life? Arya answered truthfully. Yes, she worked part-time because childcare was expensive. Mrs. Chen watched Mia when needed. She'd introduced Luca to Mia once, over dinner, in a public place. And no, she didn't think she was involving Mia inappropriately. She was modeling healthy relationships. Healthy? Cross pounced. You've known Mr. DeLuca for 2 weeks. You call that healthy? I call it getting to know someone, like adults do. And exposing your daughter to strange men is something adults do? Objection, Victoria said sharply. Argumentative. Sustained, the judge said. But the damage was done. Arya could see it in the judge's expression. When she stepped down, her hands were shaking. Then Caleb testified. He was good, smooth, concerned, the perfect worried father. Talked about wanting stability for Mia, about his concerns for her safety, about how much he'd missed being in her life. And why weren't you in her life for the past 6 months? Victoria asked during cross-examination. I was dealing with work commitments overseas. You were in Europe? Yes. For 6 months? Business is demanding. Too demanding to call your daughter? Too demanding to send child support? Caleb's jaw tightened. I sent what I could. According to these records, you sent nothing, $0 in 6 months. I was having temporary financial difficulties. Victoria smiled. It wasn't pleasant. Temporary financial difficulties. Yet you're currently residing in a penthouse apartment that rents for $15,000 a month. Help me understand that math, Mr. Hayes. The judge looked interested now. I had a reversal of fortune, Caleb said stiffly. A reversal. How fortunate. Victoria pulled out more documents. In fact, you recently came into a substantial inheritance from your uncle, didn't you? That's irrelevant. Is it? Because it seems to me that you showed no interest in your daughter until you had money again, until you could afford a lawyer and a custody battle. That's not true. I love my daughter. Do you? Because you haven't seen her in 6 months. You missed her 4th birthday. You didn't send a card, a present, a phone call. What kind of love is that? Caleb's face flushed red. I was protecting her. From what? From seeing me struggle. From the instability. So instability is bad when it's yours, but unforgivable when it's hers? Victoria gestured to Arya. Ms. Bennett has been there every single day, working, providing, loving that little girl. She didn't disappear when things got hard. She stayed. The judge called for a recess. Arya sat in the hallway, head in her hands. Luca brought her coffee she couldn't drink. Victoria's good, he said quietly. It's not enough. Did you see the judge's face when Cross talked about you? I saw. This is my fault. I should never have... Stop. He crouched in front of her, hands on her knees. This is not your fault. Caleb did this, not you. But I gave him ammunition. You lived your life. That's not a crime. Before she could respond, Victoria appeared. They're calling us back. The judge looked grim when they reconvened. I've reviewed all the evidence and testimony, she said. This court finds insufficient grounds for emergency custody modification. Ms. Bennett has demonstrated consistent, appropriate parenting. Mr. Hayes's concerns appear to be based more on speculation than fact. Arya felt her heart stop. However, the judge continued, I am troubled by the rapid introduction of a new male figure into the child's life. Ms. Bennett, I'm ordering graduated visitation for Mr. Hayes, supervised initially, expanding over the next 3 months, and I'm strongly recommending family counseling for all parties. Your Honor, Cross started. My decision is made, Counselor. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel came down. Arya couldn't breathe. She'd won. Mia was still hers. Caleb stood abruptly, his chair scraping loud. He looked at Arya with pure hatred. This isn't over, he said quietly as he passed. Then he was gone, and Arya was shaking so hard she thought she might fall apart. Luca's arms came around her before she realized she was crying. You did it, he murmured against her hair. She's yours. You won. But even through the relief, through the tears, Arya heard Caleb's words echoing, this isn't over. And she knew, with a certainty that made her stomach cold, that he was right. The relief lasted exactly 48 hours. Arya spent those 2 days in a fog of exhausted gratitude, holding Mia too tight, crying in the shower where her daughter couldn't hear, trying to convince herself it was really over. The judge had ruled. Caleb had lost. They were safe. Then the envelope arrived. Not served this time, just slipped under her door sometime during the night, plain manila, with her name handwritten across the front. Inside were photographs, her and Luca leaving Victoria's office, getting into his car, the two of them on that park bench, his hand covering hers. More recent ones, Luca picking up Mia from preschool 3 days ago when Arya had been stuck at work, him carrying Mia on his shoulders, both of them laughing. The last photo made her stomach drop. Luca's building, the one he'd pointed out once when they'd driven past. A high-rise in a neighborhood Arya couldn't afford to breathe in. On the back, someone had written in the same handwriting, "Who is he really?" Arya's hands shook as she shoved the photos back in the envelope. She checked the hallway, but it was empty. Mrs. Chen's door was closed, everyone else already at work. Her phone was dialing before she thought it through. Good morning, Luca answered, sounding entirely too awake for 7:30 in the morning. Someone left photos under my door. Silence. Then, what kind of photos? Of us. You and me. You with Mia. Your building. She was pacing now, unable to stand still. Someone's following us. I'm on my way. Don't go anywhere. Luca, I have to get Mia to school. Call Mrs. Chen. Have her take Mia. You stay inside until I get there. You can't just... but he'd already hung up. 20 minutes later, he was at her door with a man she'd never seen before. Tall, built like he could break someone in half, with a scar running through his left eyebrow. "This is Marcus," Luca said, walking in like he owned the place. "He's going to check your apartment." "Check it for what?" "Cameras. Listening devices. Anything that shouldn't be here." Arya felt her blood go cold. "You think Caleb bugged my apartment?" "I think someone's watching you, and I'm not taking chances." Marcus moved through her tiny apartment with efficient silence, running some kind of scanner over walls, outlets, light fixtures. Mia watched from the couch, clutching Sir Barksalot. "Is that man a spy?" she whispered loudly. "Something like that," Luca said, sitting beside her. "Pretty cool, right?" "I guess, but he looks mean. He's a teddy bear. Just a really big teddy bear who can break things." "Can he break bad guys?" "If he needs to." Mia seemed satisfied with this answer. Marcus finished his sweep and shook his head at Luca. "Clean." Some of the tension left Luca's shoulders. "Good. Check the hallway, building entrance. See if there are cameras we can access." After Marcus left, Luca turned to Arya. "Show me the photos." She handed over the envelope. Watched his expression darken as he flipped through them. "These were taken over several days," he said quietly. "Different angles, different locations. Professional work." "Caleb hired someone to follow us?" "Looks like it." "But the hearing's over. He lost. Why would he?" "Because men like Caleb don't lose, they regroup." Luca pulled out his phone, texted someone. "He's looking for something to use against you, building a case for appeal. There's nothing to find. I work, I take care of Mia, She stopped. "This is because of you, isn't it?" His jaw tightened. "Probably." "He wants to prove you're dangerous, that I'm exposing Mia to—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "Arya, maybe you should go." The words came out before she could stop them. Luca went very still. "What?" "I can't risk this. Can't risk him finding something, twisting it, using it to take her from me. If we stop seeing each other, if you stay away, he'll find something else." Luca's voice was hard. "This isn't about me. It's about control. You know that. But I'm making it easy for him, giving him ammunition. You're living your life. That's not a crime. It might as well be." She was crying now, frustrated tears that she hated. "Everything I do gets twisted. Every choice becomes evidence against me. I can't keep doing this." Luca stood, crossed to her in 2 strides and pulled her against his chest. She tried to push away, but he held firm. "Listen to me," he said quietly. "Caleb Hayes is a bully and a coward. He's trying to scare you into isolation, into thinking you don't deserve support or connection or anything good. Don't let him win. He's already winning. No, he's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes." Arya wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that this would somehow work out. But fear was a living thing in her chest, squeezing tighter with each breath. "I need to think," she said, pulling away. "I need time to figure this out." Something flickered across Luca's face. Hurt, maybe, or understanding. "Okay," he said finally. "Take your time. But Arya, I'm not going anywhere. Whether we're together or not, I'm not letting him hurt you." After he left, Arya sat on her couch and stared at nothing. Mia climbed into her lap, sensing something wrong the way kids always do. "Is Luca your boyfriend?" she asked. "I don't know, baby. Do you want him to be?" Such a simple question, such a complicated answer. "Yes," Arya admitted, "but wanting something doesn't always mean you can have it." "Why not?" "Because sometimes wanting things is selfish. Sometimes you have to choose what's safe over what makes you happy." Mia frowned, working through this logic. "That sounds dumb." Despite everything, Arya laughed. "Yeah, it really does. The next few days crawled by. Arya went through the motions: work, preschool pickup, dinner, bedtime. Normal life. Except nothing felt normal. Luca texted once. "Marcus found the photographer. Former private investigator. Works for hire. Won't say who hired him, but we both know." She didn't respond. He texted again the next day. "Caleb filed an appeal. Victoria's handling it. You don't need to worry." Still no response. On the 3rd day, "I miss you." Mia too. Sir Barksalot sends his regards. Arya stared at that message for 10 minutes before typing. We miss you too. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared. No response came. She told herself it was better this way, cleaner, safer for everyone. She almost believed it. Rachel showed up unannounced on Friday night with wine and Chinese takeout. Intervention time, she announced, pushing past Arya into the apartment. Where's Mia? Asleep. Good, we need to talk. They sat on the floor, eating lo mein straight from the containers. You're shutting down, Rachel said bluntly. I recognize the signs. You did the same thing during the divorce. I'm fine. Liar. You're scared and you're pulling away from the one person who's actually trying to help you. It's complicated. It's always complicated. That's not an excuse. Rachel set down her container. Arya, I know I pushed you to go out that night, and maybe if I hadn't, you wouldn't have met Luca, and Caleb wouldn't have this ammunition. So if you're mad at me, I'm not mad at you. Then what? Talk to me. Arya set down her own food, appetite gone. I'm terrified. Every time I think I can breathe, something else happens. The custody petition, the photos, the appeal. It never stops. And Luca, he's amazing, but he's also this huge unknown in my life. I don't know who he really is or what he's capable of or... Do you trust him? The question stopped her cold. Did she trust Luca? She barely knew him. 3 weeks didn't make a relationship, didn't create real trust, but he'd shown up when she needed help. Paid for a lawyer she couldn't afford, protected her and Mia without asking for anything in return. Never pushed, never demanded, just stayed. Yes, she said quietly. I think I do. Then what's the problem? What if trusting him is a mistake? What if Caleb's right and Luca's dangerous and I'm being stupid? Rachel laughed, sharp and bitter. Caleb's never been right about anything in his life. He cheated on you, bankrupted you, abandoned his daughter, and now he's trying to control you through fear. Why the hell would you believe anything he says? Because what if he's not lying this time? What if Luca really is, what? Involved in something shady? Maybe. Probably, given what he does for a living. But has he ever hurt you, lied to you, treated you like anything less than someone worth protecting? No. Then stop letting Caleb live in your head. Stop giving him power over your choices. Rachel grabbed her hand. You deserve good things, Arya. You deserve support and connection and someone who looks at you the way Luca does. How does he look at me? Like you're the only person in the room, like he'd burn the world down if it meant keeping you safe. Rachel squeezed her fingers. Don't throw that away because you're scared. Fear is Caleb's weapon. Don't let him win. That night, Arya lay awake staring at her phone. She drafted a dozen messages to Luca, deleted them all. Finally, at 2 a.m, she settled on, Can we talk? The response came immediately. Always. When? Arya. Tomorrow? After I drop Mia at preschool? Luca. I'll pick you up. 9 a.m. She set the phone down and closed her eyes, wondering if she was making the right choice or the biggest mistake of her life. Luca's car pulled up exactly at 9. Arya climbed in, suddenly nervous. Where are we going? She asked. Somewhere we can talk without interruption. He drove them to a small cafe she'd never noticed before, tucked between a bookstore and a dry cleaner. Inside was quiet, warm, smelling of coffee and fresh bread. They sat in the back corner. Luca ordered for both of them without asking. He'd apparently memorized how she took her coffee. You've been avoiding me, he said once they were alone. I needed to think. About? Everything. You, me, what this is, whether it's worth the risk. And what did you decide? Arya wrapped her hands around her coffee cup, gathering courage. I need you to be honest with me about who you are and what you do. The real story, not the sanitized version. Luca leaned back, studying her. You sure you want that? Some things, once you know them, you can't unknow. I'm sure. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he started talking. I grew up in Naples. Not the nice part. The part where you learned to fight or you didn't survive. My father was involved with people who made their living in the gray spaces between legal and illegal. Protection rackets, mostly. Some smuggling. Nothing violent, but not exactly legitimate either. Arya listened, not interrupting. When I was 16, someone decided my father owed them money. They came to our house one night to collect. My mother tried to stop them. His jaw tightened. She didn't survive the encounter. Luca, let me finish. He took a breath. My father killed the men who killed her. Then he sent me to America to live with my uncle. Told me to build a different life, stay clean, stay out of the family business. And I tried. Got an education, started a security company, did everything right. But you can't completely escape who you are. The skills I learned growing up, reading people, understanding threat assessment, knowing how to handle violence, they're useful in security work. So I used them. Built a successful company that protects people who need protecting. People like who? Politicians who've received death threats. Executives whose companies have made powerful enemies. Families going through ugly divorces where one party has become dangerous. Witnesses in criminal trials. People who need protection from things the police can't or won't handle. That sounds legitimate. It is. Mostly. He met her eyes. But some of my clients are people the public wouldn't approve of. Some have done things that aren't strictly legal. I don't ask too many questions about their pasts. I just keep them alive. So you do work for criminals. I work for people. Some of them have criminal records. Some of them have just made enemies. I don't judge. I protect. Arya processed this. It wasn't as bad as she'd feared, but it wasn't completely clean either. What about you? She asked. Have you ever done anything illegal? Depends on your definition. I've broken into places I wasn't supposed to be to extract clients from danger. I've used force when necessary to protect people. I've paid for information that may have been obtained through questionable means. But I've never killed anyone who didn't deserve it. Never hurt an innocent person. Never... Wait. Arya's heart stopped. You've killed people. Luca's expression didn't change. Yes. How many? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. He sighed. 3. All in self-defense or defense of clients. All investigated. All rule justified. But yes, I've taken lives. Arya set down her coffee cup with shaking hands. This was real. This wasn't some movie or book. The man sitting across from her had killed people. Are you going to run? Luca asked quietly. I don't know. Should I? That's not for me to decide. She studied his face, looking for something. Regret, pride, indifference. What she saw was exhaustion. The weight of choices that couldn't be unmade. Do you regret it? She asked. Killing them? No, they were trying to kill me or people I was protecting. I'd do it again. He leaned forward. Arya, I'm not a good man. Not in the conventional sense. I've done things that would horrify most people. I operate in spaces where the rules are different, but I've never hurt anyone who didn't have it coming, and I've never failed to protect someone who trusted me. Is that supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to help you make an informed choice. You want honesty? Here it is. I'm dangerous. I have enemies. People I've protected have even more enemies. Being with me means accepting a level of risk most people wouldn't tolerate. And Mia? Mia would always be protected. I'd die before I let anything happen to her. The certainty in his voice made her throat tight. Why me? She asked again. You could have anyone, someone without baggage, without a kid, without an ex-husband trying to destroy her life. Why choose this complication? Luca smiled, sad and genuine. Because complications are honest. Because you fight even when you're scared. Because watching you with Mia makes me believe good things still exist in the world. Because... He stopped, reconsidered. Because I haven't felt this way in a very long time, and I'm selfish enough to not want to let it go. Arya's chest felt too tight. She couldn't breathe right. I need time, she managed. Take all you need. But know this. Whether you choose me or not, I'm not letting Caleb hurt you. That's not negotiable. You can't protect me forever. Watch me. They sat in silence, coffee cooling between them. Finally, Arya stood. I should go. I have a shift at the coffee shop. Luca drove her back in silence. When they pulled up to her building, he turned to her. One more thing, he said. The photos that were left under your door? The photographer admitted Caleb hired him. But there's more. Caleb's been making inquiries about me through some contacts, trying to find something he can use. Will he find anything? Maybe. My past isn't spotless, but Victoria's prepared for whatever he digs up. Arya nodded, reaching for the door handle. Arya? She looked back. I meant what I said. Take your time. But don't let fear make your decisions for you. She got out without responding. That afternoon, while making lattes for strangers, Arya's mind spun in circles. Everything Luca had told her should have sent her running. The violence, the deaths, the gray morality of his work. But instead, she felt something close to relief. He'd been honest, completely, terrifyingly honest. No sanitized version, no careful omissions. Just truth, however ugly. More honesty than Caleb had given her in 6 years of marriage. Her phone buzzed. Victoria Chen. We have a problem, she said without preamble. Caleb's lawyer just filed a motion claiming new evidence of your involvement with organized crime. Arya's stomach dropped. What? They're claiming Luca's company is a front for criminal activity, that you're knowingly exposing Mia to dangerous individuals. That's insane. Luca runs a legitimate business. I know. But Caleb's lawyer has receipts. Photos of Luca with known criminals. Evidence of payments to offshore accounts. Nothing illegal, technically, but it looks bad. What does this mean? It means we have an emergency hearing next week. The judge wants to review this new evidence before finalizing the custody arrangement. After Victoria hung up, Arya stood in the cafe bathroom and tried not to throw up. This was it. This was what she'd been afraid of. Luca's past coming back to destroy her future. She should have stayed away, should have never accepted his help, never let Mia get attached, never let herself believe she could have something good. Her phone buzzed again. Luca this time. Victoria told me. I'm sorry. This is my fault. Arya stared at the message, fury building. She typed back, yes, it is. Then immediately, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Luca. You did, and you're right. I brought this into your life. Arya, what do we do? Luca, we fight. But Arya, if you want me to walk away, I will. If you think it'll help your case, I'll disappear. Victoria can argue we broke up, that I'm no longer a factor, whatever you need. Her hands shook as she typed. Is that what you want? Luca, no. But this isn't about what I want. It's about keeping Mia safe. She stared at those words for a long time. When her shift ended, she picked up Mia from preschool and walked home in a daze. Mia chattered about finger painting and how Emma had eaten paste again, oblivious to her mother's panic. That evening, while Mia played with Sir Barksalot, Arya made a decision. She called Luca. I'm not running, she said when he answered, and I'm not asking you to disappear. Arya, let me finish. You were honest with me today about who you are and what you've done. That took courage. And yeah, it scares me. But you know what scares me more? Letting Caleb control my life. Letting fear make my choices. Letting him win. Silence on the other end. So here's what's going to happen, she continued, surprised by the steadiness in her voice. We're going to that hearing. We're going to tell the truth. And if the judge decides that knowing you makes me unfit, then I'll deal with that. But I'm not going to preemptively sacrifice something real because I'm afraid of what might happen. You're sure? No. But I'm doing it anyway. She heard him exhale, long and shaky. Okay, he said finally. Then we fight together. Together, she agreed. After hanging up, Arya felt something shift in her chest. Still afraid, still uncertain, but also something else. Determined. The week before the hearing was controlled chaos. Victoria prepped her relentlessly, running through every possible question, every angle Caleb's lawyer might take. Luca kept his distance physically but stayed present through texts and calls. He sent over additional documentation for Victoria, business licenses, tax records, client testimonials, everything to prove his company was legitimate. But Arya could feel his frustration. He was used to solving problems with action, with control. This forced patience was killing him. 3 days before the hearing, everything changed. Arya was walking Mia home from preschool when she noticed the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, parked across from her building. She'd seen it before, yesterday and the day before that. Her skin prickled. She hurried Mia inside, locked the door, and called Luca. There's a car watching my building. What kind? Black sedan. I don't know cars, but it's been here for days. Stay inside. I'm sending Marcus. Luca, stay. Inside. 20 minutes later, Marcus appeared at her door with another man she didn't recognize. We're going to check it out, Marcus said. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except Luca or me. Arya watched through the window as they approached the sedan. The car pulled away before they reached it, disappearing around the corner. Marcus came back looking grim. Professional surveillance, he said. Definitely hired. Definitely watching you. Caleb? Most likely, but we'll confirm. That night, Arya couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked suspicious. At midnight, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Arya Bennett? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Who is this? Someone who wants to help. You're in danger, real danger. Caleb Hayes isn't the man you think he is. Arya's heart hammered. What are you talking about? Meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m., the coffee shop on 4th and Maple. Come alone. I'm not meeting a stranger. I have information about your ex-husband. Information that could end this custody battle permanently. But I need to know I can trust you first. Who are you? Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Don't bring your boyfriend. Don't bring anyone. The line went dead. Arya sat in the dark, phone clutched in her hand, mind racing. This could be a trap. Could be Caleb trying to catch her doing something stupid. Could be anything. Or it could be exactly what the woman said. A way out of this nightmare. She looked at her recent calls, finger hovering over Luca's name. She should tell him. Should tell Victoria. Should not go alone to meet a stranger with vague promises. But something in the woman's voice had sounded genuine, urgent, scared. Arya set down the phone and stared at the ceiling, knowing she'd already made her choice. Tomorrow, she'd go alone. Tomorrow, everything might change. Arya dropped Mia at preschool with a kiss that lasted too long and promises she wasn't sure she could keep. You're squishing me again, Mia complained, but she hugged back just as tight. I love you, baby. You know that, right? I know, Mama. You say it like 100 times a day. Good. Remember it. Mrs. Chen had agreed to pick up Mia if Arya ran late. Which she might, depending on how this meeting went, depending on whether she was walking into a trap or a lifeline. The coffee shop on 4th and Maple was generic. Chain franchise, plastic chairs, burnt coffee smell. Arya arrived 15 minutes early, ordered something she wouldn't drink, and sat in the back corner where she could watch the door. 10 o'clock came and went. No mysterious woman. No one even glanced in her direction. At 10:15, Arya started to feel stupid. This was a setup. Had to be. She was about to leave when a woman slid into the seat across from her. Mid-40s, expensive suit, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. She set down a leather briefcase and studied Arya with sharp eyes. Thank you for coming, the woman said. Who are you? My name is Jennifer Sutton. I was Caleb's assistant for 3 years, until 2 months ago. Arya's stomach clenched. Why are you contacting me? Because what he's doing to you is wrong, and because I have information that could stop him. What kind of information? Jennifer glanced around, then pulled a folder from her briefcase. She slid it across the table without opening it. Financial records? Emails? Evidence of fraud? Your ex-husband has been embezzling from his firm for the past 18 months. Offshore accounts, shell companies, falsified documents. He's stolen over $2 million. Arya stared at the folder like it might explode. Why are you giving this to me? Because I'm the one who discovered it. And when I confronted him, he threatened me. Said he'd destroy my career, have me disbarred, make sure I never worked again. Jennifer's voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. I've been documenting everything since then, waiting for the right moment to use it. And that moment is now? Your custody battle gave me an opening. If this information comes out during court proceedings, it becomes public record. The DA will have to investigate. Caleb won't be able to bury it. Arya opened the folder with trembling hands. Pages of financial statements, transaction records, email chains. It was overwhelming, but even she could see the patterns. Money moving through accounts that shouldn't exist, signatures that didn't match, dates that didn't line up. This is real, she whispered. Very real, and very illegal. Your ex-husband is looking at serious prison time when this comes out. Why now? Why not go to the authorities yourself? Jennifer's expression hardened. Because I signed an NDA when I left. If I break it, I lose everything. My severance, my pension, my reputation. But if this information comes out through court proceedings initiated by someone else, if I'm subpoenaed to testify, the NDA becomes void. I'm not breaking it. I'm being compelled. So you're using me. I'm giving you ammunition. What you do with it is your choice. Arya closed the folder, mind spinning. This could end everything. Could destroy Caleb's credibility, end the custody battle, maybe even put him in prison where he couldn't hurt anyone. But it also felt wrong, too convenient, too perfect. How do I know this is real? That you're not working for Caleb, trying to trap me into using false evidence? You don't, but you can have it verified. Show it to your lawyer, have her check the documents, trace the accounts. It's all legitimate. I made sure of that. And what do you get out of this? Justice. Revenge. Call it whatever you want. Caleb Hayes destroyed my career and threatened my family. I want to watch him fall. Jennifer stood, leaving the folder on the table. Think about it, she said. But don't think too long. Your hearing is in 2 days. After that, this window closes. She was gone before Arya could respond. Arya sat alone with the folder for 20 minutes, not touching it, barely breathing. This was insane. She should call Victoria, should call Luca, should definitely not be sitting here with potential evidence of criminal activity wondering what to do with it. Her phone buzzed. Luca. Where are you? Marcus said you left the building. She typed quickly. Coffee shop. Needed to think. Luca. Which coffee shop? Arya hesitated, then, I'm fine, I'll call you later. Luca. Arya, what's going on? She didn't respond, just grabbed the folder and left. Victoria's office was 20 minutes away by subway. Arya clutched the folder the entire ride, hyper-aware of every person who looked at her, every stop that lasted too long. The receptionist looked surprised when she appeared without an appointment. Is Victoria available? It's urgent. 5 minutes later, she was in Victoria's office, folder open on the desk between them. Victoria read in silence, expression carefully neutral. When she finished, she looked up with eyes that gave nothing away. Where did you get this? Does it matter? Yes, it matters a lot. If this came from an illegal source, we can't use it. If it's fabricated, we're opening ourselves to serious legal consequences. It came from someone who worked with Caleb, someone who has reason to want him exposed. That's vague, Arya. I need specifics. So Arya told her about Jennifer Sutton, the phone call, the meeting, the offer. Victoria listened without interrupting. When Arya finished, she sat back, fingers steepled. This is either the break we need or a very sophisticated trap. Can you verify it? The documents? I can try, but it'll take time we don't have. The hearing is day after tomorrow. So what do we do? Victoria was quiet for a long moment. We gamble. If these documents are real, they blow Caleb's case apart. A man embezzling millions has no moral ground to stand on, questioning your fitness as a parent. But if they're fake, if this is some kind of setup, we could lose everything. Your professional opinion? My professional opinion is that this is incredibly risky and potentially unethical, and I should tell you to walk away. Victoria tapped the folder. But my gut says it's real. The details are too specific, too consistent. Whoever compiled this knows Caleb's business inside and out. So we use it? I verify what I can in the next 48 hours. If it holds up, we present it to the judge. If not, we burn it and never speak of it again. Arya nodded, throat tight. One more thing, Victoria said. If we do this, if we expose Caleb's fraud, he's going to know someone gave you this information. He's going to come after whoever helped you. Are you prepared for that? Jennifer said she was protected by the NDA. Legal protection isn't the same as actual protection. If Caleb is as vindictive as you say, he'll find a way to hurt her. That's not my responsibility, isn't it? You're using her information, her risk. The words hit hard. Arya hadn't thought about it that way. Hadn't considered that bringing down Caleb might mean putting someone else in danger. What should I do? That's not a legal question. That's a moral one. And only you can answer it. Arya left Victoria's office feeling worse than when she'd arrived. She'd thought the folder was salvation. Now it felt like a bomb with an uncertain timer. Her phone had 6 missed calls from Luca. She called him back. Where the hell have you been? He sounded furious and scared in equal measure. Victoria's office. I had something to show her. What something? Arya hesitated. I can't tell you yet. Can't or won't? Both. It's complicated and I need to figure it out first. Silence. Then, you're shutting me out again. I'm protecting you. If this goes wrong, I don't need protecting, Arya. I need you to trust me. I do trust you. That's why I'm keeping you out of this. If it blows up, I don't want you caught in the blast. More silence. She could hear him breathing, could picture him running a hand through his hair the way he did when frustrated. Where are you now? He asked finally. Walking home. I'm picking you up. We need to talk. Luca, not about the mysterious thing you can't tell me about the hearing, about what happens after, regardless of how it goes. 20 minutes later, she was in his car. He drove them to the waterfront parked overlooking the river. I've been thinking, he said, staring out at the water, about what you said, about me bringing danger into your life. I didn't mean you did, and you were right. Knowing me puts you at risk, puts Mia at risk. I can protect you from external threats, but I can't protect you from the consequences of being associated with me. Arya's chest felt tight. What are you saying? I'm saying that if we do this, if we're really together, you need to understand what that means. The people I work with, the enemies I've made, the life I lead, it's not normal, it's not safe, and it's not going to change. I know that. Do you? Because knowing it intellectually and living it are different things. There will be nights I can't tell you where I am or what I'm doing. There will be people watching us, trying to find leverage. There will be violence, Arya. Maybe not directed at you, but around you, near you. Is that really what you want for Mia? The question hung between them. Is this you trying to push me away? Arya asked quietly. Giving me an out? This is me being honest. Giving you a choice with all the information. She looked at his profile, the hard line of his jaw, the tension in his shoulders. He was trying to do the right thing, trying to protect her by scaring her away. It almost worked. What do you want? She asked. He turned to face her, and the rawness in his expression made her breath catch. I want you. Both of you. I want to wake up with you in my bed and teach Mia to ride a bike and argue about whose turn it is to do dishes. I want normal and domestic and boring. I want everything I never thought I could have. But I'm not a normal person, and pretending I am would be lying to both of us. Arya reached across the center console, took his hand. His fingers were warm, calloused, steady. I don't want normal, she said. Normal got me Caleb. Normal got me destroyed and bankrupt and fighting for custody of my own daughter. So no, I don't want normal. I want real. I want honest. I want someone who shows up when things get hard instead of running away. Even if that someone brings his own set of problems? Everyone brings problems, Luca. At least yours are interesting. He laughed, surprised and genuine. Then he kissed her. It wasn't their first kiss. That had been the staged performance at the bar. But it was the first real one. The first one that wasn't for show or strategy. Just them, wanting each other, choosing each other despite every logical reason not to. When they broke apart, Arya was breathing hard. Okay, she said. Okay what? Okay, I choose this. You, me, whatever complicated mess comes with it, but you have to promise me something. Anything. If it ever gets to a point where being with you genuinely endangers Mia, you'll walk away. You won't fight me, won't argue, you'll just go. Can you promise that? His expression went serious. Yes, I can promise that. Then we're doing this. We're doing this, he agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, watching boats move across the water. Whatever you're not telling me, Luca said eventually, the thing you took to Victoria, is it dangerous? Potentially. Do you need help? Not yet. Maybe not at all. I'll know more tomorrow. And you'll tell me then? If I can. He nodded, accepting this. I don't like it, but I trust you. Those words did something to her chest, made it warm and tight and terrified all at once. That night, Mia asked if Luca was coming for dinner. Not tonight, baby. Why not? Is he mad at us? No, he's just busy. With his spy friend? Something like that. Mia was quiet while Arya tucked her in. Then, just as Arya was about to leave, she spoke up. Mama, if you marry Luca, will my last name change? The question caught Arya off guard. We're not getting married, Mia. But if you did, would I be Mia DeLuca? You'd be whatever you wanted to be, Bennett, DeLuca, or both. It would be your choice. I like DeLuca. It sounds fancy. It does, doesn't it? And then Daddy couldn't take me away because Luca would protect us. Arya's throat closed up. She hadn't realized Mia understood what was happening, hadn't wanted her to worry. Baby, no matter what happens, you're staying with me. I promise. But what if the judge says, then we'll figure it out. But you're mine, Mia. Nothing's going to change that. Mia seemed satisfied with this answer. She rolled over, hugging Sir Barks a lot. Good night, Mama. Good night, baby. Arya stood in the doorway long after Mia fell asleep, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall, memorizing every detail. She couldn't lose this. Wouldn't lose this. Whatever it took. The next day crawled by. Arya called in sick to work, couldn't eat, jumped at every phone notification. Victoria texted at noon. Documents checking out so far. Meeting with forensic accountant at 3. At 4. It's real. All of it. Caleb's been stealing for at least 18 months, possibly longer. At 6. We present tomorrow. Be ready. Arya showed the messages to Luca when he came by that evening. They'd agreed he'd stay the night, partly for protection, partly because neither of them wanted to be alone. This is going to get ugly, he said after reading. It was already ugly. No, this is different. This is criminal charges, federal investigation, potential prison time. Caleb's going to be cornered, and cornered animals are dangerous. You think he'll do something? I think we should be prepared. Marcus is outside. I've got 2 more guys on rotation through the night. No one gets near this building without us knowing. Is that really necessary? Yes. His certainty should have scared her. Instead, it felt like safety. They put Mia to bed together. Luca read her 3 stories, did all the voices, made her giggle until she hiccuped. You're good at this, Arya said, watching from the doorway. At what? Being here. With us. It's not... I don't know. It's not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone harder, more closed off. I am those things, but not with you. After Mia was asleep, they sat on the couch. Arya curled into Luca's side, his arm around her shoulders, both of them too wired to sleep. Tell me about Naples, she said. The good parts. So he did. Talked about the ocean, the food, the way sunlight looked on old stone buildings. About his mother, who'd been fierce and funny, and had taught him to cook. About summers spent with cousins, running through streets that had existed for thousands of years. Do you miss it? Arya asked. Sometimes, but it's not home anymore. Hasn't been for a long time. What is home? He looked down at her, something soft in his expression. Starting to think it might be here. Arya fell asleep like that, wrapped in his arms, listening to his heartbeat, trying not to think about tomorrow. She woke at 3 a.m. to her phone ringing. Unknown number. Again. She answered without thinking. Hello? Arya Bennett? A man's voice this time. Unfamiliar. Who is this? That doesn't matter. What matters is that you drop whatever Jennifer Sutton gave you. Don't bring it to court. Don't mention it. Forget it exists. Ice flooded her veins. How did you... We know everything. We've been watching. And if you use that information, there will be consequences. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you, for your sake and your daughter's, walk away from this. The line went dead. Arya sat frozen, phone clutched in shaking hands. Luca was awake instantly. What happened? Someone just called, threatened me, told me to drop the evidence about Caleb. What did they say exactly? She repeated the conversation, watching his expression darken with each word. They mentioned Mia, she finished, voice breaking. They said there would be consequences. Luca was already moving, phone out, texting rapidly. Marcus, get in here, now! Within minutes, her apartment was full of large men with serious expressions. They swept the place again, checked windows, stationed themselves at strategic points. We're moving you, Luca said. Tonight. Pack what you need for a few days. You and Mia are coming to my place. We can't just... Yes, we can. And we are. This isn't negotiable, Arya. What about the hearing? I can't miss it. You won't. But you're not staying here where someone can get to you. Arya wanted to argue, wanted to say this was an overreaction, that they were fine, that she couldn't just uproot Mia in the middle of the night. But the fear in her chest wouldn't let the words come. Okay, she whispered. Okay. She packed quickly, quietly, trying not to wake Mia. But her daughter stirred anyway, confused and sleepy. Mama, what's happening? We're going on an adventure, baby, going to stay at Luca's house for a little while. Right now? In the middle of the night? Right now. Is it because of Daddy? The question broke her heart. It's because I want to keep you extra safe. Can you be brave for me? Mia nodded, already half asleep again. Luca carried her to the car while Arya grabbed bags. Marcus and his team formed a protective circle, eyes scanning constantly. The drive to Luca's building felt surreal. Empty streets, city lights reflecting off wet pavement, Mia asleep in her car seat. What floor do you live on? Arya asked, trying to focus on mundane details instead of the fear clawing at her throat. Penthouse, top floor. Of course you do. Despite everything, he smiled. The building was exactly what she'd expected. Expensive, secure, doorman who nodded at Luca like he was royalty. They took a private elevator that required a key card, rose 30 floors in silence. The penthouse was stunning, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, modern furniture, art that probably cost more than Arya's annual salary. Guest rooms down the hall, Luca said. Second door on the right, bathroom attached. Make yourself at home. He carried Mia to the guest room, laid her gently on the bed. She didn't even stir. Arya stood in the doorway, watching him pull blankets over her daughter, and felt something crack open inside her chest. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me. This is my fault. If I hadn't... Don't. We've been through this. You didn't create this situation. But I made it worse. Maybe. Or maybe you're the only reason I'm still fighting. He crossed to her, pulled her close. She buried her face in his chest and finally let herself shake. I'm terrified, she admitted. I know. What if we can't protect her? What if whoever called, they won't get near her? I promise you that. You can't promise that. Watch me. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other while the city glittered below them. Finally, Arya pulled back. I should try to sleep. Big day tomorrow. You want company? I can sleep on the floor. Just be there in case. Yes, please. So they lay in the guest room bed, fully clothed, not touching but close enough to feel each other breathe. Mia snored softly between them. Luca? Yeah? If this all goes wrong tomorrow, if they take her, they won't. But if they do, promise me you'll help me get her back. Whatever it takes. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, whatever it takes. I promise. Arya closed her eyes and tried to believe him. The alarm went off at 6. Hearing day. The day everything would either end or begin. Arya dressed carefully in the outfit Victoria had approved. Professional, but not too formal. Maternal, but not desperate. Mia ate cereal at Luca's massive kitchen counter, swinging her legs and asking if they could live here forever. We'll see, baby. I like it here. It's fancy. And Luca has good cereal. Despite her fear, Arya smiled. Marcus drove them to the courthouse in an SUV with tinted windows. Luca sat beside Arya in the back, hand covering hers. You've got this, he said quietly. Do I? Yes. You're stronger than you know, braver than you think, and you've got truth on your side. Truth doesn't always win. Today it will. I can feel it. She wanted to believe him, chose to believe him. Victoria met them at the courthouse entrance, looking sharp and ready for battle. Ready? She asked Arya. No, but let's do it anyway. They walked in together. And Arya realized, whatever happened in the next few hours, she wasn't alone anymore. She had Luca, had Victoria, had proof of Caleb's crimes. She had a fighting chance. And sometimes, that was enough. The courtroom felt smaller this time. Or maybe Arya just felt bigger, less afraid, more certain. She sat beside Victoria, hands folded in her lap to hide their shaking. Luca was 3 rows back, close enough to feel, far enough to not draw attention. Marcus stood by the door, casual but alert. Caleb arrived 5 minutes late, his lawyer Martin Cross looking irritated. Caleb himself looked tired. Good suit, but wrinkled. Hair not quite as perfect. Dark circles under his eyes that makeup couldn't fully hide. He glanced at Arya once, and she saw something in his expression that surprised her. Not anger, fear. He knew. Somehow, he knew what was coming. The judge entered, and everyone stood. Judge Morrison was in her 60s, silver-haired, with eyes that missed nothing. She'd presided over the first hearing, and Arya still couldn't read her. Be seated. We're here for the continued custody matter of Bennett versus Hayes. Miss Chen, I understand you have new information to present? Victoria stood smoothly. Yes, Your Honor. Information that directly impacts Mr. Hayes' fitness as a parent and his credibility before this court. Cross was on his feet immediately. Objection. This is highly irregular. We received no notice of new evidence. Because we received it 48 hours ago, Victoria interrupted, and we've been working to verify it ever since. The court will understand the delay once they see what we've uncovered. Judge Morrison looked skeptical. This better be good, Ms. Chen. It is, Your Honor. May I approach? Victoria walked to the bench with a folder, the same one Jennifer Sutton had given Arya. Cross followed, protest written all over his face. The judge opened the folder. Read in silence. Her expression shifted from skeptical to shocked to coldly furious in the space of 3 pages. Mr. Cross, she said quietly, do you know what this is? I haven't had the opportunity to review. It's evidence that your client has been embezzling from his law firm, detailed financial records showing systematic theft over 18 months, offshore accounts, shell corporations, falsified documents, $2.3 million by my count. Cross went pale. Your Honor, I have no knowledge of... Of course you don't, because your client didn't tell you. The judge closed the folder and looked at Caleb. Mr. Hayes, stand up. Caleb stood slowly. For the first time since Arya had known him, he looked genuinely rattled. Is this true? Judge Morrison asked. Have you been stealing from your firm? That information is privileged. Not in my courtroom, it isn't. Answer the question, yes or no. Caleb's jaw worked. Arya could see him calculating, trying to find an angle, a way out. I exercised creative accounting in managing certain client accounts. That's a yes, then. The judge's voice could have cut glass. Mr. Hayes, you came into my courtroom arguing that Ms. Bennett was unfit to parent your daughter. You questioned her judgment, her stability, her choice of associates, all while you were actively committing felonies. Do I have that right? Your Honor, if I could explain, sit down. Ms. Chen, where did this information come from? Victoria had clearly anticipated this question. A former employee of Mr. Hayes' firm, she discovered the discrepancies during her work and compiled the evidence before leaving her position. She's willing to testify under oath if required. She will be required. I'm also forwarding this information to the district attorney's office. This court doesn't tolerate perjury or fraud. Judge Morrison looked at Arya. Ms. Bennett, did you know about your ex-husband's criminal activities during your marriage? Arya stood, legs shaking. No, Your Honor. I knew he worked long hours and traveled frequently, but I had no knowledge of his finances beyond our joint accounts, which he emptied during the divorce. He emptied your accounts? Yes, Your Honor. Left me with approximately $300 in significant debt, while he had millions in offshore accounts. The judge shook her head, disgusted. Sit down, Ms. Bennett. Mr. Hayes, you're done. This custody petition is dismissed with prejudice. Full custody remains with Ms. Bennett. You'll get supervised visitation once every 2 weeks, and that's more than you deserve. If you're not in prison, that is. Your Honor, Cross tried. Don't. Your client lied to this court, wasted our time, and traumatized his ex-wife and daughter in pursuit of control he had no right to seek. We're done here. The gavel came down. For a moment, Arya couldn't move, couldn't process. It was over. Actually over. She'd won. Then Caleb was moving, standing abruptly, chair scraping. This is bullshit. You can't... Marshal, Judge Morrison said calmly, please escort Mr. Hayes from my courtroom. If he resists, arrest him for contempt. 2 court officers appeared. Caleb looked at them, at the judge, at Arya. His face was red, veins standing out in his neck. You think you've won? He spat at Arya. You think this is over? I will destroy you. I'll take everything. Mr. Hayes, you're leaving now. They grabbed his arms. Caleb struggled, still shouting. She's a whore. Sleeping with criminals. You should be investigating her, not me. Marcus moved from his position by the door. Not running, just positioning himself between the commotion and where Arya sat. Luca was there too, suddenly, hand on her shoulder. Don't look, he said quietly. Don't give him the satisfaction. But Arya did look. Watched them drag Caleb out, still screaming threats, still convinced he could intimidate his way out of consequences. She felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just exhausted relief. Ms. Bennett? Judge Morrison's voice was gentler now. Are you all right? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Sorry the system failed you the first time. She paused. Your daughter is lucky to have you. Arya's throat closed up. She nodded, unable to speak. Outside the courtroom, Victoria was all business. The DA will want to talk to you. Probably this week. They'll need your testimony about the joint accounts, the financial abuse during the divorce. Are you willing? Yes. Whatever they need. Good. We're also filing a motion to reopen your divorce settlement. Given the newly discovered assets, you're entitled to a significant portion of that money. I don't want his money. It's not his money. He stole it. And you deserve compensation for what he put you through. Victoria's expression softened. Let me handle this part. You've done the hard work. Now let the system do its job. They walked outside into October sunshine that felt too bright, too normal for what had just happened. Rachel was waiting on the courthouse steps, having taken time off work to be there. She grabbed Arya in a hug that nearly knocked her over. You did it! Oh my God, you actually did it! We did it, Arya corrected, pulling back. Victoria did most of the work. You stood up to him. That's the hardest part. Marcus appeared at Luca's elbow, leaning in to murmur something. Luca's expression darkened. What? Arya asked. Caleb made bail. He's out. Her stomach dropped. Already? How? His firm posted it. Probably didn't want the publicity of their partner sitting in jail. Luca's hand found hers. It's okay. We knew this might happen. Marcus has people on him. He won't get near you or Mia. For how long? We can't live like this forever. We won't have to. The DA's moving fast on this. With the evidence Victoria provided, they're looking at multiple charges. Caleb's going to be fighting for his freedom, not for custody. That night, back at Luca's penthouse, Arya finally let herself fall apart. Mia was asleep in the guest room, exhausted from a day at preschool followed by celebration ice cream that Luca had insisted on. Arya stood in the bathroom, looking at her reflection, and started crying. Not sad tears. Not scared tears. Just release. Luca found her there, wrapped her in his arms without saying anything, just held her while she shook. It's over, she kept saying. It's actually over. It's over, he confirmed. I can't believe it. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. No more shoes, just life. Normal, boring, safe life. She laughed through her tears. You promised me you weren't normal. I lied. I'm deeply boring. Ask anyone. Marcus might disagree. Marcus is biased. They stood like that until Arya's tears dried up, until her breathing steadied, until she felt like a person again instead of a raw nerve. Stay with me tonight, Luca said. Not because you're scared, not because you need protection, just because I want you here. What about Mia? Mia's in the guest room. We're in mine. Door stays open if it makes you feel better. It did make her feel better. She changed into pajamas he'd bought her, soft cotton, nothing fancy, and climbed into his bed. It was huge. California king, maybe bigger. Sheets that probably cost more than her couch. This bed is ridiculous, she said. I like space. You could fit 6 people in here. I'm only interested in 1. He climbed in beside her and they lay facing each other in the dark. What happens now? Arya asked. What do you want to happen? I don't know. I haven't let myself think past today. Then start thinking. What does your life look like when you're not fighting for it? She considered this. Mia's safe. I have a job that pays enough that I'm not constantly terrified. Maybe I go back to school, finish my degree. Maybe we get a place with more than 1 bedroom. What about me? Am I in this picture? Do you want to be? Yes, but I need you to want it too. Arya reached out, found his hand in the darkness. I want it. I'm terrified of it, but I want it. We can go slow. Can we? Because it doesn't feel slow. It feels like jumping off a cliff. Then we jump together. They fell asleep like that, hands linked, breathing in sync. The next 3 weeks were strange. Normal, but strange. Arya moved back to her apartment, but spent most nights at Luca's. Mia adjusted faster than expected, treating the penthouse like a playground. She loved the big windows, the fancy bathtub, the fact that Luca would order any food she wanted. You're spoiling her, Arya complained after he ordered sushi for the 3rd time in a week. She likes California rolls. What's wrong with that? Nothing, except now she thinks all food comes delivered in fancy boxes. Doesn't it? Luca. Arya. But he smiled when he said it, and she couldn't really be mad. The DA's office called. Arya gave her statement about the financial abuse, the emptied accounts, the debt Caleb had left her with. They were building a case, multiple counts of embezzlement, fraud, tax evasion. He's looking at 20 years minimum, the assistant DA told her. Probably more. Financial crimes at this scale don't play well with juries. What about the threats, the phone call, the surveillance? We're investigating. If we can tie it back to him directly, we'll add witness intimidation to the charges. 2 weeks after the hearing, Caleb's law firm released a statement. They were cooperating fully with authorities, had terminated Caleb's partnership, and were working to make clients whole. Reading between the lines, they were throwing him under the bus to save themselves. Good, Rachel said when Arya told her. He deserves it. I don't know what I feel, Arya admitted. I thought I'd be happy, satisfied, but mostly I just feel empty. That's normal. You spent 3 years fighting him. Now you have to figure out who you are without that fight. It was good advice. Hard to follow, but good. Arya started therapy. Not because she was falling apart, but because Victoria suggested it might help with the custody arrangement long term. Having documentation of mental health care proved she was processing the trauma responsibly. The therapist was a middle-aged woman named Dr. Singh who didn't take any of Arya's deflections. You're very good at minimizing what you've been through, she observed in their 3rd session. I'm fine, Mia's safe, the custody battle's over, and you were financially abused for years, isolated from friends and family, gaslit into thinking you were the problem. Then you had to fight for the right to parent your own child while being stalked and threatened. That's not fine, Arya. That's traumatic. But it's over now. Is it? Or are you just waiting for the next crisis? The question hit too close. I don't know how to not wait, Arya admitted. I don't know how to relax when things are good because they've never stayed good. So we work on that, on trusting that good things can last. It was harder than it sounded, but slowly, day by day, Arya started to believe it might be possible. A month after the hearing, Jennifer Sutton reached out. They met for coffee. Different shop this time, during daylight hours. I wanted to thank you, Jennifer said, for using the information, for standing up to him. I should be thanking you. You handed me the weapon. We both took risks. I'm glad they paid off. Jennifer stirred her coffee absently. The firm offered me my job back, with a promotion and a significant raise. Hush money, basically. They don't want me talking about how long Caleb's theft went unnoticed. Are you taking it? I don't know. Part of me wants to burn them all down. Part of me just wants to move on. Arya understood that tension. What does your gut say? Take the money. Use it to start fresh somewhere else. Don't waste energy on revenge when I could be building something new. Sounds wise. Sounds cowardly. Sounds like survival, Arya corrected. There's no shame in walking away from a fight you've already won. Jennifer smiled. When did you get so philosophical? About a month ago when I realized I didn't have to keep fighting. They talked for another hour, 2 women who'd been damaged by the same man, finding solidarity in survival. 6 weeks after the hearing, Caleb's trial date was set, 4 months out. The DA was confident in their case. He'll probably take a plea, Victoria said during a check-in call. His lawyers are already making noise about cooperation. If he testifies against the firm's senior partners, he might get his sentence reduced. To what? 10 years, maybe? With good behavior, out in 7. 7 years. Mia would be 11 when he got out, old enough to make her own decisions about seeing him. The thought should have scared Arya. Instead, She felt relief. 7 years of safety. 7 years to build a life Caleb couldn't touch. There's something else, Victoria said. The divorce settlement. We're getting a hearing next month. Based on the assets he hid, you're looking at a significant payment, probably around $800,000. Arya nearly dropped the phone. What? Half of what he stole minus legal fees and taxes? It's your money, Arya, what you should have gotten in the first place. $800,000. Enough to pay off her debts, finish school, buy a real apartment, enough to not be scared every time the rent was due, enough to breathe. I don't know what to say. Say you'll spend it on yourself and Mia. That's all the thanks I need. That night, Arya told Luca about the money. They were cooking dinner together. She was chopping vegetables while he handled the pasta, Mia doing homework at the counter. That's incredible, he said. You deserve every penny. It feels weird, like I'm profiting from his crimes. You're not profiting. You're being compensated for what he stole from you. There's a difference. What should I do with it? Whatever you want. It's yours. But Arya had already been thinking about it. I want to go back to school, finish my degree in social work, maybe work with other women going through divorces, custody battles, help them navigate the system. Luca stopped stirring, turned to look at her. That's perfect. You think? I think you'd be amazing at it. You've lived it. You know what helps and what doesn't. It'll take time, 2 years probably. I'd need childcare and I'll help. With Mia, with money, if you need it, with whatever you need. I can't ask you to... You're not asking. I'm offering. He set down the spoon, came around the counter to face her. Arya, I'm in this. Fully, completely in this. Your dreams are my dreams. Your goals are my goals. If you want to change the world by helping other women, I want to help you do it. Mia looked up from her homework. Are you guys being mushy again? Little bit, Luca admitted. Gross. But she was smiling. 3 months after the hearing, Arya enrolled in a night program at the local university. Social work degree, part-time schedule, so she could still work and parent. It was exhausting. Class 2 nights a week, homework whenever Mia was asleep, readings she had to do while waiting in preschool pickup lines. But it was also exhilarating. For the first time in years, Arya was building something. Not surviving, not fighting, building. Luca adjusted his schedule to be home on her class nights. He'd pick up Mia, make dinner, help with bedtime. Arya would come home at 10 p.m. to a clean apartment and a sleeping daughter and a man who asked about her classes like they mattered, because to him, they did. Tell me about your professor, he'd say. The one you mentioned last week. Dr. Washington, she's incredible. Used to work in family court advocacy, saw all the gaps in the system. Now she trains social workers to fill those gaps. Sounds like someone you'd get along with. I asked her to be my advisor. What did she say? She said yes. His smile was genuine, proud. Of course she did. You're going to be brilliant at this. 6 months after the hearing, Caleb took a plea deal. 12 years in federal prison in exchange for testimony against 3 senior partners at his firm. Arya didn't go to the sentencing, didn't need to see his face or hear his excuses. She read the verdict in the newspaper and felt only distant relief. Mia asked once if Daddy was coming back. Not for a long time, baby. Is he in jail? Arya had debated how much to tell her, settled on age-appropriate truth. He made some bad choices and broke the law. So yes, he's in jail. That's what happens when people break important rules. Oh. Mia processed this. Will he be there forever? No, but for many years. By the time he gets out, you'll be much older. Will I have to see him? Only if you want to. You always get to choose. I don't think I want to. Arya's heart broke and healed simultaneously. That's okay. You might change your mind later, and that's okay too, but right now you don't have to decide anything. Mia seemed satisfied, went back to playing with her dolls like they hadn't just had a life-altering conversation. Kids were resilient like that. 8 months after the hearing, Luca asked Arya to move in with him, officially. Not just spending nights, but combining lives. It makes sense, he said. You're here most of the time anyway. Mia's comfortable here, and I want to wake up with you every morning, not just the nights you happen to stay over. That's a big step. I know, but we've been through bigger. What about your work, the dangerous parts you can't tell me about? I'm scaling back. Taking fewer high-risk clients. Marcus can handle most of the field work. I want to be here more, for you, for Mia, for the life we're building. You'd do that? Change your work for us? I'd do anything for you. Haven't you figured that out yet? They moved in that weekend. Arya kept her apartment for another month, just in case, but she never stayed there. It felt wrong now, sleeping in the place where she'd spent so long being afraid. Luca's penthouse, their penthouse, felt right, felt safe. Mia got her own room, which Luca let her decorate however she wanted. She chose purple walls, a canopy bed, and a shelf for Sir Barksalot and his growing collection of stuffed animal friends. You're spoiling her, Arya said again. She deserves to be spoiled. So do you. I don't need spoiling. No, but you deserve it anyway. A year after the hearing, Arya finished her first year of graduate school with a 3.8 GPA. Dr. Washington offered her a research assistant position, which came with a small stipend and invaluable experience. Mia started kindergarten, made friends easily, showed no signs of trauma from the custody battle. Kids were resilient, the therapist said, especially when they had stable, loving homes. Rachel got engaged to a woman she'd been seeing for 6 months. The wedding would be small, just family and close friends. You're bringing Luca, right? Rachel asked. Of course. And Mia can be a flower girl if she wants. She'll be thrilled. Life felt almost normal, almost boring even. Arya had never been so grateful for boring. 15 months after the hearing, Luca proposed. Not fancy. No restaurant or fireworks or grand gesture, just the three of them in the living room after dinner, Mia doing a puzzle on the floor. Luca got down on one knee, pulled out a simple ring, silver band with a small diamond, and said, I love you. I love our life. I want to make it permanent. Will you marry me? Mia looked up from her puzzle. Say yes, Mama. Arya laughed through sudden tears. Were you in on this? Luca asked me if it was okay. I said yes, because then he'd officially be my dad, and we'd all have the same last name. So say yes. Arya looked at Luca, still kneeling, patient and nervous and hopeful all at once. Yes, she said. Obviously yes. He slid the ring on her finger, kissed her while Mia cheered, and Arya felt something settle in her chest. Not relief this time, just peace. They got married 6 months later in a small ceremony. Immediate family only, which meant Mrs. Chen, Rachel, and her wife, Mama Giordano, and a few of Luca's employees who'd become friends. Mia wore a purple dress that matched her room and carried flowers she immediately started picking apart. The ceremony was short. The reception was loud and warm and exactly what Arya had never known she wanted. When they danced, Luca held her close and whispered, How does it feel? Unreal. Like I'm going to wake up and this was all a dream. It's real, I promise. I know. I just keep waiting for something to go wrong. Things will go wrong. That's life. But we'll handle it together. Together, she agreed. 2 years after the hearing, Arya graduated with her master's in social work. Dr. Washington hired her immediately for the family advocacy nonprofit she ran. Arya's first case was a woman with a daughter Mia's age, fighting for custody against an ex-husband who drained their savings and disappeared. I don't know if I can do this, the woman said during their first meeting. He has better lawyers, more money. I'm terrified. Arya recognized that fear, had lived it. You can do this, she said firmly. I know because I did it, and I'm going to help you every step of the way. She meant it, used everything she'd learned, all the resources Luca's money could provide, all the connections Victoria had shared. 6 months later, that woman won full custody, cried in Arya's arms with relief that Arya understood on a cellular level. You saved us, the woman said. No, you saved yourself. I just showed you how. That night, Arya came home to chaos. Mia was teaching Luca how to braid hair using her doll, and both of them were covered in flour from some baking experiment gone wrong. Don't ask, Luca said when he saw her expression. I wasn't going to. We made cookies. They're mostly edible. Mostly? Luca put salt instead of sugar, Mia announced. But we fixed it and made new ones. I see. Luca stood, kissed her hello, getting flour on her work clothes. How was your day? Good, really good. My client won custody. That's incredible. Yeah. Arya looked around at their messy, chaotic, beautiful life. Yeah, it is. 3 years after the hearing, Mia turned 7. They threw her a birthday party with too many kids and too much cake and games that got out of hand. At the end of the night, after all the guests left, Mia climbed into Arya's lap despite being too big for it. Best birthday ever, she declared. I'm glad, baby. Mama? Yeah? I don't remember Daddy very much anymore. Is that bad? Arya's chest tightened. No, sweetheart, that's not bad. You were very young when he was around. Do you think he remembers me? I'm sure he does. Do you think he's sorry for the bad things he did? Arya thought about it, chose honesty. I don't know, maybe. Some people learn from their mistakes, some people don't. I hope he learns, so when he gets out, he can be better. The compassion in her daughter's voice made Arya's eyes burn. That's a kind thing to hope for. You always say everyone deserves a chance to be better. I do say that, don't I? Is it true? Yes, I think it is. But that doesn't mean we have to give them chances if being around them isn't safe. Mia nodded like this made sense. I'm glad we're safe now. Me too, baby. Me too. 5 years after the hearing, Caleb was granted early release for good behavior. He'd served 7 years of his 12-year sentence. Arya got the notification from the Victim Services Office, read it twice, then set it aside. What do you want to do? Luca asked when she told him. Nothing. He's required to stay 500 feet from us. Can't contact Mia without court permission. He's essentially a stranger now. How do you feel about that? Relieved, mostly. I spent so long being angry at him, scared of him. Now I just don't care. He's not my problem anymore. What about Mia? When she's older, if she wants to meet him, then we'll deal with it. But that's her choice, not his, and not for years yet. Caleb sent one letter, forwarded through Victoria's office. Arya read it, then filed it away without responding. It was an apology. Rambling, self-serving, full of excuses. But buried in there somewhere might have been actual remorse. She'd never know for sure. Didn't need to. 7 years after the hearing, Arya was promoted to director of the Family Advocacy Program. She'd helped hundreds of families navigate divorces, custody battles, financial abuse. Some days were harder than others. Some cases hit too close to home. But most days, she loved her work. Loved knowing she was making a difference. Mia was 11 now, all legs and attitude and fierce independence. She wanted to be a lawyer when she grew up, help people like her mom did. You could be a social worker like me, Arya suggested. No offense, Mama, but lawyers make more money. Fair point. Luca's security firm had expanded. He'd brought on more staff, delegated most of the dangerous work, focused on running the business rather than doing the field work. He was home for dinner most nights, coached Mia's soccer team, complained about the gray in his hair that Arya secretly loved. They fought sometimes. Normal couple fights about dishes and schedules and whose turn it was to deal with Mia's latest drama. But they always came back together, always chose each other. That was the thing Arya had learned. Love wasn't the absence of problems. It was showing up anyway. It was choosing partnership over pride. It was trusting that tomorrow would be there, even when today was hard. 10 years after the hearing, Arya stood in her office looking at photos on her desk. Mia at 14, all braces and sass. Luca at 45, somehow more handsome than when they'd met. The three of them on vacation last summer, tanned and happy. A different life than she'd imagined sitting in that bar a decade ago, desperate and afraid. A better life. Her phone rang. A new client, scared and alone, trying to figure out how to protect her kids from an abusive ex. Arya picked up, ready to help. You're going to get through this, she said. I know because I did. And you're not alone. Not anymore. Outside her window, the city stretched endlessly. Full of people fighting their own battles, building their own lives, learning their own lessons. Arya had learned hers, had survived the worst, and built something beautiful from the wreckage. She'd learned that strength wasn't about never being scared. It was about being terrified and moving forward anyway. She'd learned that asking for help wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. She'd learned that love, real love, didn't demand perfection. It offered patience. It showed up. It stayed. Most importantly, she'd learned that she was enough, just as she was. Flawed and fierce and fighting. Enough for Mia, enough for Luca, enough for herself. The woman on the phone was crying, apologizing for crying, promising to be stronger. Don't apologize, Arya said gently. Crying doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. Now let's figure out how to get you through this. And she did, because that's what survivors do. They survive, they heal, they help others do the same. And sometimes, if they're very lucky, they build lives worth living. Arya had built hers. Not perfect, never perfect, but real. And hers. That night she went home to her family, to Mia complaining about homework, and Luca burning dinner and the dog they'd finally gotten last year barking at nothing. To chaos and laughter and love. To the life she'd fought for, the life she'd earned. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything.